All right, 1 2 1 2 in the place to be. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red, and this is another edition of the In the Dungeon show. And I want to thank you all out there for joining me in conversation. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to talk to you tonight about what's been happening in the world of sports. And we'll go for at least an hour, and maybe a little longer, depending upon the show. But this is one that I think needed to happen in a real way, because so much is happening in the world of sports, particularly in with some of the teams that we cover. For example, the Golden State Warriors took on the LA Clippers this afternoon, and they lost 124-119 in what was a great game. I'm sure Adam Silver and the rest of the NBA brass back in New York were really, really happy. No one had a lead. I'm going to say midway past the second quarter, no one led by more than, say, 3 or 4 or 5 points. Very, very competitive game. And unfortunately, the Warriors lost. But there's so many different subplots to this game that actually might work out in the Warriors' favor down the road, as opposed to getting the entire week off and claiming the 6th seed and taking on the LA Lakers and having a pretty short plane ride, a 1-hour plane ride. They're now in the play-in with the 7th seed. And although they play at home against a Memphis Grizzlies team that actually had a good run today, to move forward, they got to win that game, or they have to play on Thursday. So if the Warriors take care of their business, they will take on the Houston Rockets, right? And we've been talking for a couple of weeks. The consensus in the Bay Area among Warrior fans and maybe around the nation is the Houston Rockets are vulnerable, and a veteran-oriented team like the Warriors should feel pretty good against Houston. But you got to get there, though. Don't discount Memphis. They're very talented. Now, one thing that we will get into that works for the Warriors is Memphis's best on-ball defender, Jaden Wells, the rookie out of Sonoma State, 6'8", long armed, played at Washington State. He broke his wrist, so he's out for the year. I don't see another guy on their roster that can give Stephen Curry the type of stress that I saw Jaden Wells give him this year. Even though Steph, obviously lit them up over 50 points, Wells does a good job on Stephen Curry. So we can talk about that. The Warriors will be favored against Memphis. It's a team that they should beat. Easy does it. It's over. You can rest for 2, 3, 4 days and get ready for Houston. But they got to get there, and we can talk about that. We're going to talk about the game and all of the subplots, because Jonathan Kuminga not playing was a big billboard on Madison Avenue at 42nd Street, 34th Street, in Times Square. That's how emphatic Jonathan Kuminga's absence was. And we're going to ask ourselves why. Oh, he's not going to be in Steve Kerr's rotation. We can't gloss over that. Because why did the Warriors lose this game? They lost this game because they couldn't rebound. That's why they lost. If you gave the Warriors a score of 100, they got, a 90, 92, 93? They played their asses off against 25, 26 other teams. They would have won that game today. They deserved the win, but they did not have enough rebounding. If Jonathan Kuminga was not hurt, it's reasonable for us as basketball fans to expect him to be on the court. Now, something could have happened internally that made Steve Kerr draw that conclusion, but I don't care. You can't be your best self, Golden State Warriors, if Jonathan Kuminga, one of your most talented players, can't even get on the floor. And yet we're watching Quentin Post out there look like a sieve. Quentin Post is god-awful defensively. He's soft. He's not a power rebounder. If he's not making shots, he's not doing anything. And I'm not hating on the guy. I'm glad that he has an NBA job, something that I never did. But if he's going to play against primetime players and be 7'1", you got to rebound the ball. He didn't rebound at all. He made Zubac look like Bill Walton. Zubac looked like Bill Walton today. For all of y'all who never saw Bill Walton play, RIP to the great Bill Walton. That was Bill Walton on a daily basis. That was Bill Walton. Dominant. That bothers me because it's like, we got to stop this, man. We got to stop it. The fans deserve more than that. At least more of an explanation. I didn't hear anything about an injury, and I was looking for that. No, I think he just didn't play. So that was the one thing that upset me because I thought that the Warriors really came out. They were prepared. Steve Kerr is a hell of a coach. I'm going to mention 3 things that he did to put his team in a position to win because he coached a brilliant game. But once again, there's always like that wrinkle. Well, you know, where's Jonathan Kuminga? Oh, he's not in the rotation. Guy Santos is going to get in the game and Jonathan Kuminga can't. Quentin Post can get in, but Jonathan, come on, man. Stop it. I don't like that crap. So I'm riled up. If I'm riled up, I know you are. Let's get it started. SGA, what's up? Hi, Frank. How you doing, brother? I'm doing fine. And how are you? And as long as you are respectful to people, then I will acknowledge you. If not, then you know, don't screw it up. The great Vicky, how are you, Vicky? It's always great to, you know, hear your thoughts and hear your suggestions. It's always right on time. Hi, Frank. How are you? I'm doing fantastic. I'm very ambivalent about the Warriors. I sometimes think nobody can beat this team. And then I think everybody can beat them. Vicky, they played an A game today. Sometimes the wins are in the losses. Sometimes what you don't get now is what you need later. If the Warriors got the 6th seed, they would take on a Laker team that's pretty darn good. Not saying the Warriors can't beat them, but if the Warriors win one more game, they take on the Houston Rockets. Now, I think they got a better matchup opponent in the Houston Rockets in the opening round versus playing the Lakers in the opening round. How do you feel about that? So they might have lucked out by losing. Isn't this nice? SGA. Hi, Vicky. Yeah, good. All right. Guys, make sure to click that button, that smash, that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell for the Dungeon Show, so you'll never miss when he comes out with another video. Yeah! Great marketing. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Andrew the GOAT. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Warriors being in the play-in again this year because they have to not be good. Well, live in the moment, man. Don't worry about the past. Live in the moment. As a Warrior fan, this is one of the worst nightmares for the Warriors going back to the play-in tournament. Nah, man, stop it, dude. It's a totally different team. It's a different era. What they got to do is put their best foot forward. You know, when the Warriors lost in the play-in, I would ask you this: how did they play in the game? Not only being the 7th seed, they got to lose twice. They got to lose twice to not have a chance to be in the playoffs. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell everybody else out there, if you the Golden State Warriors, you went out and made the trade of the NBA free agency season and got Jimmy Butler. If you can't beat Memphis on your home court with all that they've gone through, firing their coach, let's be honest, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. You do not deserve to be in the playoffs. Would you agree with that? They're going to beat Memphis. Come on. The Warriors failed to take care of business and now must deal with the NBA play-in. It's okay. I don't have a problem with it. First of all, you can talk about rest all you want. If I'm a player and I'm in a situation that they were in this afternoon where they played their asses off against one of the best teams in the NBA, and I had a chance to beat them, think about it. Draymond got tricked into thinking that he was going to draw contact on a 1-foot layup. He missed a 1-footer. That ties the game. That's how close the Warriors were. They get another stop, they go into double overtime. So give them credit for what they did do. Let's break it down. Let's not just look at the end result. Yeah, they lost. But why did they lose? They lost because Draymond played a hell of a game, but he missed an easy little shot. Anybody can miss that shot. If I'm the Warrior players, I feel good right now. I do. I'm not worried at all. Vicky says, last time Houston won a championship was in the 80s. That's right. The dubious O.J. Simpson trial. What's happening? Brian Iglesias, my man Frank Red. Ha ha ha. What's going on, my brother? You, man. You going on? What's up, brother? How you? Love your takes. Vicky agrees with me. Post has the rebound. He also has to like be physical, man. I mean, listen. Jonathan Kuminga can't get in the game when Quentin Post is not rebounding. I mean, he's just standing in the corner shooting threes. That's not what championship caliber basketball is about. Rebound. Can you imagine if the Warriors got any one or 3 or 4 of those loose ball rebounds that they did not get in the most consequential, in the most important moments of the game to really tip the scale in their direction? They could not get a rebound. Name one thing that Jonathan Kuminga has been doing well since he came back from his injury. Rebounding. You can talk about his shooting all you want. That dude has been rebounding the basketball like a madman. And he can't get in the game? We got to stop this. The Warriors got swept by the Clippers for the 2nd straight year in a row. So what? The team that played today didn't play them every game this year. I'm only concerned about this team, Andrew the GOAT. And they afforded themselves pretty darn well. What did you think Denver firing the coach and GM? Obviously, from a basketball perspective, I didn't like it. Because I don't care. There might be less stress in the locker room. Less controversy among the head coach and the general manager, but I don't believe that they're a better team right now. We knew going back to last year that allegedly Mike Malone did not like Calvin Booth, and Booth didn't like him. So it's interesting to me because you have two adults who are theoretically rich, Mike Malone more, arguing like 12-year-olds about something that is not going to change. I think when they look back at this, they're probably going to say, you know what? Maybe I could have handled this a little differently. Both of them were probably feeling themselves a little bit. From Mike Malone's perspective, he's a made man. He's won a chip. I think he had probably a couple of years left on his deal. Calvin Booth doesn't even have a contract. Get your contract first, dude. So I thought it was very immature. This is what billionaires do. You're like, yeah, you know what? I'm a billionaire. Josh Kroenke, the owner of the team's son, Kroenke was a baller. He played at Missouri. This dude is not like some 13th man. No. He was in the rotation with Quinn Snyder. The kid can play. He's not a kid anymore, but he was a hell of a player. So, strange move. Odd. I don't think it's going to work out in Denver's favor. But the NBA is a crazy place to work. So I don't agree with it, but it's crazy. I don't know how the Warriors can feel good about getting swept by the Clippers in the regular season for what's the consequence, Andrew, to go? What's the consequence? They're in the playoffs. It's over. I mean, what they got today was a lot of intel on how to play the Clippers because they have not figured them out. 8 turnovers. If Steph has 8 turnovers in any game they have in their future, they will not win the game. Simple as that. Okay, so it's interesting, Brian, because I think that you're right. But we all know by the data, if Stephen Curry plays more than 34 or 35 minutes, bad things happen. And the worst of those things is turnovers. There's also, I believe, and I'm not a doctor, but I think that there is a certain amount of inefficiency to his body that happens. He gets tired. This is a guy who does not complain. It's probably lighter than he was 3 years ago, not very muscular. If the referees are going to allow people to hold him like they're doing now, and he's playing over 35 minutes a game, he's going to turn the ball over. Now I'm going to take you back to the last turnover. And I put myself in that coaching position because I've been there before, right? Kerr could and should have helped him, in my opinion. When Stephen went to the corner and he dribbled to the baseline, and those two players converged on him, and he threw the one-hand pass that got intercepted. Instinctively, as a coach, you're thinking one thing or not. The referee is positioned right by the coach. You got to call timeout. If Steve Kerr calls timeout in that situation, that turnover does not happen. He didn't want to call timeout because he wanted to save him at the end of the game. I guarantee you right now, and after the game, he's rethinking that. So Curry made the turnover, but that was a coaching error. I've been in that situation. You wait until the last second, and when you see your players in trouble, you call timeout. Because the player thinks that he can make that play. Because he's so absorbed in the game, he's delusional at that point. That was a coaching error. Kerr could have called timeout and saved Stephen Curry. Especially when you consider that Kerr is probably the best in the game at drawing up plays out of bounds. He's awesome at that. Today, he drew up 3 or 4 plays that was magnificent that the Warriors scored on. So that was a coaching error. Think about that for a second. But he had a lot of confidence in Steph. He thought he could get himself out of trouble, and he wanted to save his timeouts. I don't know how many he had at that point, but I know he had one. And that was with like a minute and maybe 11 seconds to go, because I looked at that point and I was like, call timeout, coach. Call timeout, Steve. Call timeout. And he didn't do it. One of those coaching moments, one of those teaching moments, the fascinating things about basketball. Let's talk about how James Harden, he flops. I'll stop it, man. James Harden was A1 today. I remember 2+ years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I'm watching First Take, and a guy who I played against in college, Tim Legler, right? Who went to LaSalle. I went to Fordham. A lot of battles. And Legler lives in that, he got a lot of friends on the 76ers, and because he went to LaSalle, and he's connected in that area. I remember him saying that James Harden at this stage of his career was like the third best player on Philly, and Tyrese Maxey was a better player, and Harden was on the downside of his career. I'm like, wow. James Harden shut up a lot of people this year because he looked every bit like an all-star caliber player today, and he's played that way this season. Will it continue in the playoffs? I don't know. But if I'm the coach of the Clippers, I'll take a flop or two if I'm going to get this version of James Harden. He was awesome today. Give it up, man. Give it up to him because he was awesome. Talk about the Clippers playing sloppy. They had a bunch of turnovers in this game. Not when the ball was in Kawhi's hands, they didn't. We should rename him Kawhi Video Game Leonard. Have you seen anybody that good before? I mean, this is crazy. We even have to look at what the Clippers organization did, how they handled this guy. Like he was, the most valued antique that the United States has. Handled him like he was, a picture by, I'm going to embarrass myself. I don't know these great artists. Like a Rembrandt or something. That's how they handled this guy. Didn't rush him back. Let him take as much time as he needed. Kawhi played like 47, 48 minutes today. Nobody could guard that guy. Nobody. 13 for 17 from the floor. That dude is a problem. Kawhi Leonard looked like a top 50 all-time great player in the history of the NBA today. That's how good he was. He was the best player on the floor. Man, he's good. Brian says, I understand as a coach, you can call a timeout. But why couldn't Steph call a timeout? Does he not have the authority? Steph is, no. Listen, again, he's Stephen Curry. Superman. Shot boy. The chef. These athletes think they can do anything. And he does most of the time. That's on the coach. That's on the coach. It's not on your 37 now? 37, 16-year veteran? Help him out. If you were coaching that, ask yourself, Brian, for about 30 seconds, I'm going to give you the head coaching job of the Warriors. What would you have done? Would you have called timeout? You could easily do it. He's in trouble. You know how to dial up plays from the sidelines. A 6'2", 3 guy is being enveloped by 2 6'8", 6'9" guys on the Clippers. Call timeout. You know you would have called timeout. Andrew says, I disagree with you saying that the Warriors have not shown how they can beat the Clippers. They did today. They just didn't get enough rebounds. No, they had a plan that might work. It did not work. So they didn't show how they could beat the Clippers because they didn't beat the Clippers. Come on, Andrew, you're smarter than that. They showed that they have a plan, but they didn't beat the Clippers. So what that means to me is they got to tinker with their plan, i.e. putting Jonathan Kuminga in the game to get some rebounds. Especially when you look at how he's been playing over the past couple of games. He has not been shooting the ball well, but what has he been doing really well? Rebounding. What is Quentin Post not doing? Rebounding. And I mean, the Warriors got a couple of guys who make the most inexplicable, basic, non-fundamental plays seem like brain surgery. Guy Santos is one of those players. He makes a lot of mistakes. He plays hard. He's developing as a legit NBA role player. I like him, but he makes a lot of mistakes. He almost has more rope than Kuminga does because Kuminga makes mistakes also. But it seems like Kuminga gets coached a little differently than some of the other players. Now, in fairness to Kerr, we're not at practice. We don't see what's happening at practice. I don't see it. I just don't like the fact that it's almost like a narrative that we know how it's going to end. We've seen this narrative play out before. We've seen this. It didn't work out for the Warriors today. Keith says, we needed Kuminga today. We couldn't contain Harden or Leonard. I know they're great players, but come on, Kerr. 0 minutes? That was a horrible decision. I believe Kuminga defense could have made a difference. I'm with you, Keith. I'm with you, man. She says Harden can rebound. All right. Keith, I agree with you. Andrew to go. Man, James Harden draws some weak fouls. He's better than that as a player. I thought Harden was great today. But Kawhi not going to last in the playoffs. He's going to wear down. Yeah, put your glasses on like me. When I don't have my glasses on, I can't spell either. Put your glasses on me. Key says, seems like every time we double team, they got a layup. Bad strategy. Play Kuminga as you wouldn't have to double team so much. There were times when the double team worked, but you're right. But the benefit that you have with Kuminga is on the first shot that they miss, he goes up and gets the rebound. So they don't get the second attempt. They didn't, did Post have any rebounds today? He didn't have any rebounds in traffic. So John, I think the consensus will be, for those who are not uncomfortable saying anything about the great Steve Kerr, Jonathan Kuminga could have helped the Warriors today. I don't care what your rotation is, coach. Jonathan Kuminga, if just rebounding, he probably would have got 1 or 2 of those loose balls. He probably would have. I think that was a miss. Brian says, of course you call timeout. Just because you think you can do anything as an athlete doesn't mean you can. It doesn't mean you can't be smart to call timeout when you're in trouble. Steph shouldn't. No, stop it. You're putting the onus on the player. Why can't the coach call timeout? I've been in that situation. Players are looking at making plays. That's why you have coaches. The players are thinking about, well, how can I make this play? That was a coaching error. And I would say this to you, Brian. This week, ask around, ask some coaches, ask some of your friends. Think about, put yourself in a coaching situation. That was a time for the coach to have an impact on the game that could have saved one of his players. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you right now, Ty Lue did it like 2 or 3 times today. There were a couple of Clipper players who were in trouble, and Ty Lue just calmly called timeout and walked on the court. Let's put some respect on Ty Lue's name, all right? Let's do that too. Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the NBA. And Steve Kerr knows it, which is why they worked so well together. Ty Lue, I don't know if there's a better coach in the league at player relations than Ty Lue. I'll wait. Ty Lue is great at having really good relationships with players to the extent that they go out and they perform. Let me tell you something. Chris Dunn, who I loved at Providence. Now Chris Dunn was a top 7 pick. Came in his first 3-4 years, didn't really understand what he needed to do. Went to the G League. Barely was getting off the bench in Utah. Ty Lue and his staff resurrected this guy's career to the point now where he looks like this generation's Mo Cheeks. All because Ty Lue believed in him. Ty Lue's a great coach. But he makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah, he does. But, Vicky, I get the sense they like him. So I'm having more of a soft spot for him because I blame the bad coaching that he's had in the past because his fundamentals are not very good. But today, he came out, he was knocking shots down. They wouldn't be they would not have been in that game had he not made some really clutch jumpers that were really important. So, is he agonizing to watch at times? Yes, he is. But is he trying to make those mistakes? No, he's not. He's actually going to basketball school now, which is ironic when you consider how long he's been in the league. But this seems like this is the first time that he's actually been in like a basketball academy where he's learning the basic fundamentals of the game. You ever see how exasperated Draymond Green is sometimes when Buddy doesn't make a play and he has to teach him in the moment? But I appreciate Buddy doesn't, he's not holding a grudge, I'm kind of coming over to his side a little bit, although he's tough to watch. Yeah, I think I read that before. I honestly hope all the Kuminga haters coming out of the woodwork is happy. Why? Explain yourself a little bit more, brother. No, JK, who is your scapegoat now? Oh, okay, I got you. That's interesting. But you know what, though? That's a great point. But I'm going to say this. They're all in it together. They want to win. 50-50 says Jonathan Kuminga's probably not going to be on the Warriors next year. Or he'll be traded mid-season because thank God next year is his final year of his contract. And even as a fifth-year player, what is he going to be making next year? 20 million? 15, 20 as a fifth-year player who can't even get in the game? So I think the Warriors are screwing this up. I mean, it really bothers me. That bothers me. Because they're not winning the chip without Jonathan Kuminga. It's not happening. And guess what? I see the NBA didn't get rid of the rip-through move. I thought they did that. What are you talking about? Explain the play. Help me out. One game, Steph had 10 rebounds, and Post had 0 in a game. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what's funny? Because the comment, oh, but he's a 57 pick. Oh, he's a second round steal. I'm like, yo, dude, he's on the court. Where you were drafted at does not matter if you're on the court. We got to stop doing that. If a player is on the court, regardless of where they were drafted, you expect them to get the job done, right? Or go sit on the bench. I don't like that. It's like, you know, because somebody undervalued your talent and you were drafted later, does that mean that you are not supposed to be able to play at a level that would, in which the expectations that you would play at because you're on the floor? I think the Warriors need to get bigger in the offseason. Yeah, they do. And I think they will. I have Ty Lue over Kerr 1,000%. I'm not gonna disparage Kerr as a coach. I think he's brilliant. I think Ty Lue's brilliant. What I don't like about Kerr is he gets fixated on how he sees the game and he doesn't budge. And what that says to me is that I think his assistants have authority in game planning, preparation. But once the game starts, I don't think they can suggest stuff to Kerr and then he will do it. I don't even think they would even try. And that bothers me a little bit. Because I think that like a coaching staff, you got it like you don't get that same sense with Jeff Van Gundy. I don't get that. I get the sense if Jeff Van Gundy has something that he thinks can help the team, he goes over and he tells Ty Lue. And then Ty Lue can say, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it, or I'm not gonna do it. But I don't think that there's a sense that you can't help the coach out. I don't get the sense that Kerr's assistants do that. And that bothers me. Again, because a pivotal point in the game today was the Warriors' inability to get defensive rebounds. And I think Kuminga could have helped them with that. But this is not a Kerr bashing session. Kerr, I mean, come on, man. When Kerr hangs it up, when Steph does, you know, he's one of the top 5 coaches in the history of the game. I'm putting the blame on everyone. Steph and Kerr. They both should have known better. Steph deserves part of the blame. He should know better as a 16-year vet. Okay. Let me say this to you. You can blame Stephen because he made the mistake. Kerr is responsible. All right? As a coach, and this is my mentality, all the coaches I played for, and I think any coach, you are responsible for all things related to your team. And I'm if you and Steve Kerr were having a beer right now, if you drink beer or lemonade or whatever you do, and you're having a conversation, you'd probably be like, you know what? Yeah, I probably would have done that differently. It's okay. Coaches are not perfect. They make mistakes. You know? It's Stefan's fault, but Kerr's responsible for it. And that was a pivotal play. Easy, instinctive. That was such an instinctive call. When James Harden drives to the basket, he literally does the rip through, okay, with his arms. Kevin Durant still does the rip through more. Yeah, I mean, I get you. I mean, yeah, but they don't call it as much. I mean, they were calling it today a little bit, but I didn't see anything egregious. I didn't. They called a foul on GP2. That was a foul. And, you know, I mean, man, Harden's tough. He's a tough cover. I want to give Podge a little credit. I thought Pods played a pretty darn good game, particularly when you consider this is only his second year. These are big boy minutes. Big boy minutes. And he's making shots out there in front of 20,000 people after playing at Santa Clara a couple years ago with, you know, what? I guess pretty good athletic ability, nothing great. I mean, decent skills. That guy got some big rocks, man. I mean, we can say what we want to say about Pods. He ain't afraid. And if you ain't afraid, you got a chance in the NBA. So I want to salute him. Salute you, Pods. Played your ass off. The great Vicky. When you get a chance, talk about WNBA first pick in the draft going to another league. What do you mean by that? What's another league? I don't understand what you mean by that. His puzzle. What does that mean, Alex? Help me out. All the rings that Kerr has gives him a pass. Okay. Didn't like Buddy warming up in huddle. I don't remember that. I didn't see that. I understand Kerr's responsible, but I'm holding Kerr accountable too. The ball was in his hands, and he turned it over at a bad time. Yes, he did. But how many games is? But I mean, yo, he's not perfect. He's 37, playing more minutes than he should be playing. Listen. Stephen Curry is arguably the most efficient 37-year-old NBA player in history. Playing guard. So I'm not surprised when Stephen turns the ball over. We've seen it before. That's even more of a reason why I think Kerr should have called timeout. We've seen him do this before. We know he's going to turn it over. He's done it. He continues to do it because he's tired and he's trying to make Herculean type plays. He can't do it. He pushed Keegan's hips. Go look. Okay, I think you're having a quiet conversation with somebody else. Pods went to basketball school while he was hurt. That's a great point. Great point. Okay. Paige signs with Unravel. Okay. Yeah, let me say this. You know, as a product of a teenage mother, I didn't have a dad. I am all things women, right? The fact that these women are exercising their opportunities and letting these primarily rich men know that they got options, I love every bit of it. Every bit of it. If you can go to Unrivaled and play essentially 6 weeks or 2 months and make $250,000 all day, do it, Paige, like everybody else is doing it. That league was started by players. They are owners of that league. I think that was a miss for Caitlin Clark, to be quite honest. I would be surprised if next year she doesn't play because they got ownership in the Unrivaled league. And all of these haters, you know, haters with microphones who said that the Unrivaled league wouldn't work, have egg all over their faces because it did work. And it is great content. And the WNBA has to get their contracts together to make sure that these women are compensated appropriately, because right now they're not. Now, speaking of the WNBA, as much of a ruckus as Kennedy, I can't think of her last name, the young lady who was on Chicago, something Kennedy, she doesn't have a contract right now. I don't like that. She was she was kind of banished from the league a couple of years ago. They brought her back last year. I don't ever like to think of players being blackballed. What's her name? The young lady from the Chicago team that kind of gave Caitlin Clark a nice little shoulder. Good player. To think that she can't make a living in this league when they are about to pop, where women are actually making millions. I'm not in terms of salary, but collectively, when they're making a nice living, they're going to banish her from the league? I think that's terrible. If JK, TJD, and Gee is DNP versus Memphis, I have Memphis +9 winning. Listen, one of the scary things about the Warriors is Joe Lacob actually knows basketball. He actually knows basketball. His son knows basketball. Played at Menlo High School. Chris Reams was his high school coach, I believe. Yeah, man. I mean, I think we're going to see JK on Tuesday. I mean, this love affair with Quentin Post, I don't know, man. Listen, if he's making threes, I get it. But dude, you were in the G League like 3-4 months ago. And that's why I've never been partial to big guys shooting. I'm not jealous. I've never been able to do that type of, I didn't have that type of range. But rebounding and defense will get you paid. I stand on that 100%. That was a bad foul call by GP2 on James Harden. Yeah, it was marginal. I agree. TG says 8 turnovers are unacceptable on so many levels. Yeah, it is. But let me ask you a question. TG, if you play basketball or any other sport, have you ever got to the point where your heart, your chest is so consumed that it's burning and it takes everything out of you? Have you ever felt that before? It doesn't mean that the heart is not functioning. It means that it needs to rest. That's what it means. I remember when I was on the basketball court, and literally you could go on the basketball court, not even warm up, just dunk, rebound, and then one day you wake up, right? You don't know when that day is going to come. And it's different. You go up for a rebound, and as opposed to casually just going up and grabbing the ball, it's not the same. Post 34, 35 minutes, it's not the same for Stephen Curry. Nor should it be. He's 37 years old. So, you got Kawhi Leonard and somebody else coming at you, you're going to turn it over too. Stephen is 6'2". I mean, the guy's amazing. I will acknowledge the mistakes that Stephen makes, but I will never criticize that guy that hard, man. Never. Never. The enjoyment that all of us get a chance to witness is because of him. Vicky says, and Steph's fingers hurt. He's the best player on the team who made a bad mental or physical mistake. If we're talking about tiredness as an issue with Steph, then I don't think we can take this team seriously. I disagree with you. That's what you got timeouts for. To rest. The heart can recover very quickly. It just needs rest. Maybe some water. It's okay. Jimmy Butler played, 47 minutes? He's 2 years younger. It's okay. In that situation, Steve Kerr should have called timeout. It's all right. TG said the Croatian dentist came in and went to school with 22-7 on us. Dub 25 boards. The Croatian dentist. Is it better than the WNBA? Unrivaled? No, I don't think so. I mean, simply because the WNBA, they're going to get this stuff in order. And plus, the eyeballs that the WNBA has and the platforms and the national marketing deals that the good players have access to kind of works itself out. But when you are a young player just coming into the league and your first year salary is $78 grand, $78,000 is not a lot of money. You know, no disrespect to people who make $78,000, less than that or whatever. I mean, living in America is just not a lot of money. You know, you're not starving, but when you can make $250,000 and get your housing paid, Unrivaled is a nice little deal there. Key says Kuminga never got any play for Warriors in his career. And when he did start, he put up 20, 5-5. I don't understand. Is he a baller whose coach is not believing in him? I mean, I'm not going to say Kerr doesn't believe in him because he plays in some, but I just think that he's not respected on the level that I think he should be respected. And I think it's time for him to go somewhere else for his own benefit. And so fans can really look back on this and say, you know what? We missed it on that guy. He's a talented dude, man. Post needs to stand under the basket and get some rebounds. He needs to put his body into players and jump and go get the ball. At Brian Iglesias, that's facts. Yeah. Look at that collaboration. I love it. Draymond is a great player. Sometimes he throws the ball to no one. Yeah, he makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody. Everybody makes mistakes. That's why it's such a great game. Then if he needed rest, then he should have. Stop it, man. Come on. Why do you always lean on the? I don't. You love putting the weight mostly on the players. I'm like, what are these coaches doing? That's their job. They're not playing. I think now with Joe in the WNBA, it will change. You mean like the money structure and compensation? I hope so. It's hard to get rebounds when the other team is jacking up threes, which bounce to around the free throw line and perimeter. No, it's not. No, it's not. I was a rebounder. It's not. Know what you got to do? You got to track the ball with your eyes, and you need to be able to rebound with both hands. A lot of players can't rebound with both hands. They're never taught to rebound the ball with both hands. You ever seen Dennis Rodman play? Huh? You seen Dennis Rodman? Dennis Rodman tracked the ball and he grabbed it with his left or right hand. Quentin Post, I mean, he's not a great rebounder with either hand. He needs to hit the weights. Plus, the Warriors don't use posts on the offense in the post. He's around the perimeter. So hard to get offensive rebounds. Yeah, we're not talking about offensive rebounds. We're talking about defensive rebounds. That's what we're talking about. And there were several situations in today's game when he was in there, even with Draymond. And he's just not an impactful rebounder. He's not. He's just not. RC Rules. What's up, my brother? TG says, great show. Gonna spread the word for sure. I appreciate you, man. I love it when people get an enjoyable experience and they share that with other people, because it's my responsibility and my fault. I do a horrible job marketing. I should care more about it. I care about content and entertainment. That's what I care about the most. When the Warriors win by 20 on Tuesday and Steph has 40 points, then take, yes! Box out, man. You are guarding. Ball on bounce in front of you. If everyone, yes. But you gotta be physical. Some players don't like physicality. You know, they don't like it. They just don't like it. This is incredible. This show's been really good, and we got more to talk about. Let me get some other things in here that might be on your mind. First and foremost, salute to Rory McIlroy for winning the Masters. I was going to go hard on golf in general, but I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'll save it for another time. I'm happy for him. He wins the Grand Slam. The only thing I said about golf is that, I know Tiger played, but since Tiger kind of went away, golf it's just not that damn interesting. And they do a worse job marketing the game than I do marketing this show. You know, it's so elitist. And I'm saying this because for those that listen to the show, I was a caddy, right? I caddied for over 10 years. So I know the game very well. And it is an elitist sport. And guess what? Everybody seems okay with it. It's not helping the game at all. They're going to this Live PGA Tour. Really? Can we stop this madness? That bothers me. It's a beautiful game. And these players are incredibly talented, but the game in and of itself is not interesting to a whole lot of people. That bothers me because it should be. It should be more popular. It should be more engaging. The audiences should look a lot different than they look. I don't like it. I love the game, but I don't like how they orchestrate the game. I don't like the apathy that apparently exists in terms of who's watching and who cares about it. It really bothers me. I got to take on the 49ers. Remember a couple of months ago when the 49ers kind of clapped their hands and said, oh, we want to get the Brock Purdy contract done early. Oh, really? Really? Is this early? It doesn't feel early to me. I think the first move that they made to make sure it gets done early was going out and signing Mac Jones. Remember last year when most people, not all, but most, who provide 49er content was bathing Brock Purdy with all of the most beautiful oils known to mankind. You know, all the wonderful oils of praise. Not so much now. Where are they now? Oh, Brock Purdy's a top 5 quarterback. Top 7. Really? Then why's he been paid like one then? I always said he's top 10. I hate that he has to go through what he's going through now because the number is the number. The number is $50 million. That's the number. Why can't we get it done? I remember and I'm going to say his name because he actually said it. Last year, Steve Young was on the radio talking about Brandon Ayuk and how he should sign his contract and he needs to, get on the team and be about the team and all this stuff. Brandon Ayuk said, no, I'm going to get the money. He got the contract, and then he got hurt. Because that's what happens when you play football. You get hurt. Brock Purdy should get every dime that he's supposed to get. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not. But he's a good quarterback. He's your quarterback. Pay the guy and stop jacking him around. That's what I think is happening right now. I don't like it. Get the deal done. They get ready to start camp pretty soon. Because if they don't win next year, then some heads are going to roll. I got two places for Shedeur Sanders. The Raiders and the Steelers. I don't want to see him in New Orleans. I don't want to see that. Because I don't think the support system is going to be there. I think he needs to be in a place where he's going to be supported. And I think Pittsburgh will support him. And I think that Brady being a member of the Raiders organization will be a good spot for him also. Dable knows how to develop quarterbacks, but I don't have a problem with the Giants not taking him at number 3. I think there are too many good non-quarterbacks at the top that the Giants can go after. I actually have no problem with that. I want to say this too. For all the people who thinks that Trey Lance is a bust, I disagree with you. And I kind of spoke to that a little bit last week. I disagree with you. I will say this. Even the year that Trey Lance got traded to the Dallas Cowboys, had he been the starter with the 49ers, they would have won 10 or 11 games with him as the starter. Would it have been agonizing on the eyes at times? Would it have been aesthetically beautiful? Probably not, because he's still developing. But these NFL teams ruin quarterbacks all day, every day. They ruin these guys. Never really give them a chance. I'm glad that he's still breathing. He's going to play with the Chargers this year for $5 million. Nobody gives $5 million to a bust. Doesn't happen. Vicky says, I love watching Tiger play. R.C. Rule says, see how many private jets park at Augusta Airport? Something like 1,500. Wow. That's amazing. But it's not elitist, though. We're open for everybody. Yeah, okay. I think the Clippers are better. Yeah, the Clippers might be better. The best team doesn't always win the series, but the Clippers are, man, they're good. The Clippers are the most balanced team. And tell me a better player in the league than Kawhi Leonard. This version of Kawhi Leonard. I don't know who that other player is. I don't know. It's not SGA. I'm going to say this. Of all the young guys who I say, well, who's the best player in the NBA under whatever age right now? To me, it's Ant-Man. I mean, he ain't Jordan, but he does a lot of Jordan. That's what Jordan did all the time. But Jordan was the best defender in the league also. Ant-Man is a problem. I'm not sure if the 49ers want Purdy. Good point. We good Tuesday, and then we will face the Rockets and be good. When Tiger and Phil rivalry was over, golf was over. Yeah, man. Lance has a great coach now. Yes. Laker fans would argue that without a doubt about the Clippers. I don't know, man. Clippers, man, they are so good. All right, let me mention a couple of more things. I went and saw the movie The Amateur with Rami Malek. Excellent movie. I liked it. Very smart. Very CIA-ish. Espionage. Lawrence Fishburne is in it, who's one of the great actors of our time. He and Malek go tit for tat. If you like those Jason Bourne type movies, spy movies, you'll like The Amateur. Really good, really smart. Check that one out. And this, I was thinking about like starting like a new segment called Just For Me. And I'll give you the origin in a second. Vicky says, I love Ant-Man. I'd love to see Ant-Man on the Warriors. I bet. All right, so Just For Me. I was like running some errands today, just kind of geeking out, right? And listening to music. I play sports. I do music. I love music. I love discovering things about music that I don't know, right? So I have Sirius Satellite Radio, like I'm sure a lot of you do, or some of you do. And usually, if I land on like the Beatles station, right? And there's a record that I like, a song that I like, Hello, Goodbye, Let It Be, countless songs. Then I'll keep it there for that song, then maybe I'll move on. Today they had these shows on where they had like these top lists with like these interludes of Beatles stories and stuff. And I was just blown away. I mean, all of these songs I've heard, but the Beatles have hits after hits after hits. And I was just like, I was so like engulfed in this information. Between 1962 and 1970, they released 203 songs. No wonder they broke up. Everybody's like, the Beatles are breaking up. Yeah, because they're tired. That was not including all of the other stuff that they did. But as a group, in 8 years, they released 203 songs. Many of them hits. And one of the interludes talked about like their origin and their likes. And you can listen to their music and kind of tell. But those brothers love black music. They love black music. And particularly Motown. And I'm gonna tell you, as an artist myself, how I know this is true. Because as a rapper, the music is basically a backdrop so the audience can hear what you're saying, what you're rapping about, right? Most of the Beatles' great songs were on. That they had written. They were great songwriters. And they didn't want me to overpower what they were saying. So, like in the Motown vein in black R&B music during that time, the tracks were in the background. And the beat kept you there. But the tracks just kind of kept your head nodding, the bass lines, so you could hear what they were saying. So, as respectful as I've always been of the Beatles, I learned a lot today, and that was awesome. Vicky says, I want to see that movie. Yeah, The Amateur. Go check it out. It's really good. Glendocious, if Leonard plays like this in the playoffs, the Clippers will upset some people. No doubt. Aussie Rules says 60s, 70s, my favorite era of music. It's definitely the most talented era. I don't think it's, I would debate anybody on that. Vicky, I'm back though, right? I'm back now because I had accidentally muted my voice. I got big fingers. I'm sorry. Good. All right. This has been a awesome show. Like I told you it would be doing the promo that I dropped. So much stuff to talk about, and I'm happy that I was able to engage with you in thoughtful conversation. Tomorrow's draft, I'm rooting for Haley Van Leef. Young lady has gone through a lot. 3 different colleges. She kept her head up, went to TCU, had a great year. So Haley Van Leef, I'm rooting for her. So I hope that she gets drafted in the first round tomorrow and has a great career. One more thing before I get out. Aussie Rules says, Beatles meeting Muhammad Ali, unbelievable encounter. I'm gonna try to look that up. Is that on YouTube? I'm gonna try to look it up. All right, everybody. Hopefully you've hit the like button, and when I look at this, I am going to be impressed, appreciative, and blown away because this has been a very popular show. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate y'all. My name is Frank Red. If you didn't know, listen for the first time, and let me do my thing and get out of here. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. All right? Hit the like button, subscribe to the show. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. It's going to take us a while to get there, but it's all good. Everybody have a great week. We'll be locked in on Tuesday night, checking the Warriors out against Memphis, and hopefully they will get things done and calm all the nerves. Are you coming back on Tuesday? Absolutely. I'll talk to you on Tuesday. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace.